Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the brave little toaster to the rescue. This is based on this movie is based on the popular children's book, The Brave Little Toaster, but it builds it out in many ways. I don't know if all these characters were part of the original story because it talks about how Joe Ranft and I gotta pull it up here, and Jerry Reese also added additional characters to the Thomas M. Dish original stories. Um, so I'm completely new to the Brave Little Toaster. It came out at a time that was either after or before the time I would have gotten to read something like that. But yeah, this is an animated film from 1997. It's an hour and 15 minutes long, so it's not really a movie, full length movie. It's probably something that would have went right to video back in the day. Usually, like 90 minutes is kind of minimum for a feature. Um, you would hope that you'd be spending, you'd be getting a closer to 2 hours, closer to at least 90 minutes for a movie that you would buy a ticket for in a theater. Anyway, this is very hand animated, cell animated, nothing digital. I mean, this is in the era after Toy Story, so this is we're in the Pixar era, late '90s, when that's really blowing up, and this is old school animation, and I think it is a Disney thing. I know there was just one called The Brave Little Toaster that came out in 1987, and this is 1997, 10 years later. Strangely enough, that 1987 film is a Disney film, but it's not on Disney Plus. Don't understand why. There is The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars, which came out a year after this. Uh, so that is of Disney Plus. So yeah, if you don't know what this is, I'm gonna try to do my best to explain it. Uh, it's a sentient toaster, actually a bunch of sentient appliances. It's not just a toaster. There's a vacuum, there's a lamp, there's a radio, all sorts of different sentient appliances. There's no explanation as to why they're sentient. It's just assumed that we know that we as humans don't know that they see everything we do and watch us. And I hope none of you are judging me too harshly for things you've seen me do in the privacy of my own home. I don't know. Yeah, so there's them, and they have friends who are animals because Rob and Chris, they go to veterinary school, I guess, a college where they're going to be veterinarians, and so he has a whole office, or it's not a lab, where he keeps animals not in cages but units, and brings them back to health. Like there's an injured monkey, and there's a snake, and a chihuahua, a cat who's just had kittens. They're just all these animals, and they hang out with the appliances, and they all talk and hang out, and they sing songs about the day they were rescued. Yes, this is a musical as well. The songs aren't very good. Just sorry, people who wrote this. That it's yeah, they're kind of treacly. But come. I will take that back completely. Well, not we'll take that back partially because there are two songs in this. One is about the internet superhighway, and one is about old computers. Yeah, and how technology has changed away from the gigantic ENIAC level computers of the 50s and 60s and beyond to personal computers, and how everything's changed. And they're not compatible with those at all, but somehow, because it's sentient, voiced by Brian Doyle-Murray, brother of Bill Murray, um, who sings a song about himself. He doesn't connect to PC. He can't connect to PCs, but somehow he does, and then wipes out Rob's paper, his thesis. I don't know. And then there's a song that happens before that to explain to the animals and the appliances what the internet is. The monkey understands this because he knows that you can use a computer to get to the internet superhighway, to the web. Well, the computer, of course, comes to life, and it's actually like a girl supergroup of computers come busting through the door. They look like four-legged, like, I don't know, computer-headed rhinos, or like they got the bodies of four-legged like hippos or rhinos, but with PC screens, big CRT heads, and their breasts are one's a floppy disk slot and the other one's a CD slot that sort of sit out, and so you go, these are female. They're, yeah, it's a little disturbing, but there's a whole big thing that teaches you everything about the internet superhighway and the internet and how everything connects to this and to that and the other thing, even though everything that happens in this film goes against all of those rules. There's no Wi-Fi in 1997, not in the way that any of us would have imagined it works today. In 1997, at one point, in order for the appliances to go on a car chase to save the animals, that's the thing, the modem goes with them to keep them in touch with the computer, but of course the modem's not hooked up to anything except a car battery, like the rest of the appliances, even though the appliances don't need to be plugged into the wall any other time in order to have power. I don't know. None of it makes sense. It does not supposed to. It's a kid's cartoon. It's just silly, good fun. That's it. It's not a great logical story, but there's a bad guy in this who's voiced by Jay Moore, who plays a great bad guy. He's just a slimy dude who wants to sell the animals to a lab. Tartarus, which is a land, I think in mythology is a land of the dead. It's hell, basically. Yeah, so and the monkey had come from a lab, and there's a really sad story with that. And one of the vacuum named Kirby, after the Kirby vacuums, which is a thing, by the way. There used to be Kirby, people used to sell Kirby vacuums door to door back in the day. I did that for a few weeks. It was hell. It was awful. Yes, I did that. It happened in the last couple decades, before the internet, let's just say. Yeah, that was a job I had. That was a miserable job. But, the Kirby vacuum doesn't believe that the monkey's been through any kind of trauma, and the monkey has to undo his bandage to show him, and everybody just goes, oh, recoils in horror. We don't get to see what it is, thankfully. But yeah, there's some fairly dark stuff in this. The money grubbing Mac is his name, I think. Who's Jay Moore plays him. He's one dimensional completely. He's just slimy. He kind of hits on Rob's girlfriend Chris, voiced by Jessica Tuck. Recognize her from something, I don't know why, but Chris Young is Rob. Yeah, there's just a lot of people. Like I said, Brian Doyle-Murphy's in this. Timothy Stack is Lampy. You might recognize him. For me to explain it to you, where all this stuff he's done. He's done a ton of stuff. If you know who Tim Stack is, you know. Andy Milder is Ratso, and he's got a whole storyline of his own where he's a rat who's in a cage with all the other animals. Like, they all have their own separate units, and he's buddies with them, but he's seen as lesser because he's a rat. But yet he doesn't like them much, and I don't know. And so, but at one point he gets to be a hero. So it's, you know, there's a redemption story with that, I guess. There's a lot going on, and then also just not a lot going on in this. And unless the Brave Little Toaster is part of your growing up and you love the character and you love just the world that he inhabits, then yeah, you're gonna want to watch this, and maybe you might hate it. I don't know. I honestly don't know what you might think of this, because some people are purists, you know. maybe the adaptations that come into film or television don't necessarily measure up to your experience as a child with a book, and that's all right. But I think they did their best here. It's just that's not for me. It's not it. Like I said, the music, despite the awesome nostalgia that is brought out by them explaining what the internet is and what old computers do or did, is kind of fantastic. Those were my favorite parts in this. It's quite not quite up to Disney standards. This is definitely like something that would have been just put on TV or direct to video. They weren't trying to. They didn't have the property just to, hey, let's put this on a major motion picture screen with Ariel and Belle and everybody else, Jasmine and Aladdin, everybody. No. Oh, and also Alfred Woodard plays Maisie the cat, I believe. Yeah. Victoria Jackson plays Mouse, and I thought I was looking for a mouse the whole time. There was a rat, but not a mouse, and I realized mouse meant computer mouse. So Victoria Jackson, if you remember her from Saturday Night Live, she plays a computer mouse. Not kidding. That is something that I've never thought anybody would ever have on the resume, where they're like, oh, what'd you play in that movie? Oh, you're in the Brave Little Toaster movie? I was a computer mouse. A sentient talking computer mouse. Yeah. Oh, Eddie Deason plays Charlie. He has a very small part, but you might remember him. I think he was in Revenge of the Nerds. He's just a nerdy dude, and he plays a nerd in this. He has a very nerdy voice. I don't know if that's the way the guy actually is in real life. His picture in IMDb looks like he's a complete nerd. Like he just went with it. He just leaned right into it. I don't know, but yeah, he's a face and a voice you might recognize in here. So yeah, it's a movie, a short movie, thankfully short movie. But yeah, I don't know if I'd really recommend it unless you're a really big fan who needs to check it out. But yeah, there's one more to watch. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
102.
102. 102. 102. Come on, what do we got here? Holy cow. Okay. We've been doing a short every other day. This is really weird. Now, I don't know if this counts as a short or not. I don't know. We'll see. It's listed under shorts. It's color-coded. I color-code these things between shorts, movies, documentaries, and series. And in this case, it shows that it's a short. But we'll see. Oh, one last thing. I mean, we've been kind of lucky the last few days getting these every other day, getting stuff that was in the 90s talking about the internet. That's kind of cool. Just do Smart House and then this, and you're just going to get your fill of 90s era nostalgia when it comes to internet stuff. It's kind of neat. Anyway, but for tomorrow, we've got a short, and I don't know how short it is, but we have Disney Illumination's fireworks show Disneyland Paris. So we got a fireworks show. If there's a plot to this, I will be very surprised. Maybe that's why I put it as a short. Again, I don't know how long it is, but I can't imagine that a fireworks show is going to go more than 10 minutes. Maybe, but it's at Disneyland Paris. Disney Illuminations, bring it back up here again. Where are you? Disney Illuminations fireworks show Disneyland Paris on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.